Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to another week of racing. It's Hambo Week. We just fresh off some Hambletonian eliminations for the 100th edition of that signature trotting event, as well as Hambletonian Oaks eliminations, which took place in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm back here to join the Mohawk broadcast for a couple days this week before I head back to work the 100th edition of the Hambletonian, something I'm very excited to be doing yet again. I'm also excited to be joined by my Hall of Fame co-host, Randy Waples. We haven't gotten a chance to work together for a few days now. Always good to be back and lots to catch up on.
Yeah, for sure. You had a really busy weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I took Saturday night off, so my weekend wasn't nearly as busy as yours. You were in Jersey, had a lot to do there, a lot of interviews, and then fly right back here and right back at it here again tonight. You are a busy little fella.
I know what the drivers and trainers feel like. We're doing all the traveling across different racetracks, especially during the Grand Circuit season. You know what that's like, of course. Yeah. It's pretty busy.
It is. It's very busy, you know. I mean, seems like some nights you're sleeping in a different bed every night and eating different food. And boy, do you ever want to get home, you know, for some good George's chicken.
Oh, George's chicken and some good R&R. It's nice to just relax and kind of, get yourself away from racing for a few hours. But we love it so much. I shy away for a couple hours, and it's like, let me just rewatch.
What did you do last night?
I rewatched some of the eliminations. Like
I watched all 14 at the Red Mile.
Well, see, that's what I actually watched some Red Mile action as well. Obviously,
we're sick.
We're sick. We love the action, Randy. We love the action. We're going to relive some of those out of town events that we took place. We're going to look at some Hambletonian Oaks and Hambletonian eliminations. And here's a victory by Delaney Hanover, Randy. Lucas Wallen trained filly who captured her first 2 career starts as a 2-year-old. We never saw her back in the winner's circle since, but she picked a good time to be back on the right foot. There she is on the outside. You could see she looked like a winner. She was under tight lines to driver Scott Zeron, and this was a really, really big effort swooping this group here. And the complexion of the race changed when Lady Landia never got a chance to get involved at 2-5.
Which one was the 2-horse Lady Landia?
No, the 7-horse was Lady Landia, but I'll tell you who the 2-horse was. That's Lasting Dream, and she was loaded.
Was she loaded? I mean, this one raced amazingly well for Scotty, no doubt about it. And Scotty, once again, just a perfect trip, brings this one into the the Oaks, the way that we know Scotty can do that. But boy, oh boy, the Louis one. Does she make it?
She did not make it, unfortunately. Sound Judgment, who removed. I mean, at 45-1, not something you see, but Kevin Oscarson came over to drive that Jim Oscarson trainee, and she hung on to make the final, but you could see Louis tried to shoot up the rail. She got shot off, and then obviously just nowhere to go. But that was a superb effort by her. If she's on the undercard, she'll be my top pick this coming weekend.
I would have to think. She really, really looked good.
We're going to look at another Hambletonian Oaks elimination. And what a bit Hanover. I talked highly about her throughout her 2-year-old campaign. She made multiple breaks in this elimination, so she is not going to make the final. The top 2 contenders in the Oaks, both aren't going to make it. And there's Miss Belmar on the lead, an old Daily trained filly who showed ability as a 2-year-old, and she's put it together. She put in a little bit of a bobble there just briefly, and Andy had to keep her attention because the backfield was coming, and she was able to hang on. Andy kind of said that was more likely on him. He should have kept her to task and kept her engaged. I think he thought that he was home and cool, and he kind of just took her attention away a little bit.
It's going to be all that much better for it next week anyway. Now tell me who Scotty Zeron had in there. It looked like the 7-horse.
Our Lady W, and another really good effort, and she didn't make it in as well. A filly who's always just had bad luck, making a couple of breaks.
Yeah.
She's been out of position over her last 2 starts. A filly that I think deserves a lot better, but she might have been the most impressive out of any of the elimination participants, and she's not even in the final.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Interesting. Boy, we're going to have an evenly dosed final.
I would have to say, and this is the final elimination, and you could see the one coming on the outside first over. That's Conversano, a Juan Cano trained filly. This is his first time having a filly participate in the Hambletonian Oaks. He's one who mostly dabbles in claimers and some, condition horses. For him to have a filly like this, I mean, it's pretty special for him. He was emotional in the winner's circle because just kind of tough to believe you're going to have a horse of this caliber competing in a prestigious event like the Hambletonian Oaks. You could see, though, she does have a tendency to kind of wait on them, and that's what happened when she did clear in that elimination victory.
Wow, interesting one there as well. I'll tell you, we see so much of Todd McCarthy, but boy, oh boy, Andy's, I would say that they're pretty well on par, these two, as brothers, as drivers, you know what I mean? Todd can really he can make some interesting moves out there. I find Andy more of a steady Eddie, and you can see that with a trotter like this. He's just always so steady, with his drive. So interesting bunch.
And he wins two out of the 3 eliminations, so he's got some decisions to make. And we're going to look at the Hambletonian eliminations. You recognize this guy,
Yes,
Emoticon Legacy, was able to hang on by the slimmest of margins. He got a nice breather in that third quarter, Randy, and he was able to sprint home. But you could see the backfield's coming. There's Strawn coming there with Greenma, and it looked like he was going to pass him there. And you could just see Emoticon Legacy. We've seen this in other events too. When they get up alongside him, he just fights and digs in again, and that's exactly what he did as he just hung on here.
Okay, number one, these head numbers have to go. Watching that thing jiggling around, that thing had a fell off or did something and bothered him, and he made a jump because of that dumb head number hanging there or whatever. These head numbers have got to go. We got rid of them years ago. Meadowlands needs to catch up and get rid of these things. They're useless. Just don't need of them. Now, who was the 6 horse in this race that Dexter was locked in?
That was Mr. Mouton, one who's lightly raced again. Good eye again. Nice. He was locked and loaded in that.
Where he really impressed me too is just when he brought him in between there, it looked like you couldn't have got a piece of paper in between the wheels. That's hard to get a young horse to do that. Let alone do it and still have all that much go.
Should be noted. Obviously that's a new bike that Louis got on, Emoticon Legacy as well in those eliminations, and got a chance to speak with him, and he said that it might have hindered his gait just a little bit because the hopples might have been a little bit snug, maybe in unison with the bike. So it's something that they're going to look to rectify there. So he maybe explains it because I thought he would maybe be a little bit more, win with a greater margin there. But there's Super Chapter getting the job done in this elimination here.
Here comes Chucky again.
And here comes Scott Giron with Maximus Miris. Just missed out to Maryland in the Breeders' Crown. And this is a trotter who took some time to get going again this year, though, Randy. And his first start of his sophomore campaign wasn't anything to write home about. But I think Lucas Wallen is just trying to get him peaked for next Saturday, and you've got to be pleased with that second place effort.
He looked fantastic out there, just amazing the job that these guys do. And it's so nice to see trotters coming into the winner's circle with very little equipment.
That's what these guys do.
100%, John, 100%. Sometimes they don't even need shoes.
Super Chapter, perfect 5 for 5 during his sophomore campaign, which means it's going to be decision time for Dexter Dunn. I have to believe he's going to go to Maryland, who is runner-up here in this elimination. I tell you what, this is a great effort by Nordic Catcher, one you're familiar with. This is the crossbreed, the one out of a Sun Beach Somewhere mare, son of Sixpack. And they made a bridle change on this guy, and it was horns blowing from the rail, and he just went down the road from start to finish in this effort. Maryland, though, what a game effort to be second. I tell you what, if you want to talk about a horse who's getting primed at the right time, I know he doesn't have a win this year. That's 4 second-place finishes to him, but second to Emoticon Legacy, second to Super Chapter, second to Go Dog Go, and second to Nordic Catcher. That was a great runner-up effort. I don't think you could ask for anything more going into a $1 million final next week.
I know because of the Hambletonian, he's not. You're not allowed to be on Lasix, and I'm talking Maryland here. Is he on Lasix when he's not in? Isn't he?
No.
Yeah? I got a feeling before the end of the year you're going to see Maryland on Lasix. Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think he's racing good. But he reminds me of a horse that, maybe has tasted blood at some point in his career, and now he's just a little tentative about having to do the extra work of going by. That might explain why 4 seconds in a row. 1 second, 2 seconds, you can sort of see it. But a horse that's that great 4 times in a row, I say there's a reason for it.
I can't fault him in that effort per se because it was a 50 and 3 mile. That was a big mile.
It was.
Right? Yeah.
But I still think he should have went by him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In my opinion.
Yeah.
You can see after the wire he slightly goes by, and that to me is another sign of a bleeder. They know exactly where the wire is.
Yep.
And they won't go by until they get to the wire. Then all of a sudden their nose will slightly go out ahead of the other horse, and they'll back off again. It's really weird with bleeders, but I think that maybe that's why he's so victory shy, because boy, oh boy, that is a nice horse.
Yeah, and Nordic Catcher, again, he stepped up in a big way. Oka said that he wanted to find an extra gear in that elimination. That's why he made the bridle change. I forgot what it was exactly, but he'll find another gear next week, hopefully, because they're going to go barefoot in that elimination. So the bridle change coupled with the fact that he's going to go barefoot, he's going to find a little bit more. And don't think that these other top trotters are not going to kind of make some equipment changes or find a way to kind of find a little bit more as well. This is going to be a really exciting Hambletonian. I know that he was the Winterbook favorite, was Maryland coming into it, but his stablemate might end up going off as the favorite. And I tell you what, I'm curious to see who's going to pick up that drive if Dexter does go to Maryland.
What would be really interesting one time is that if we could ever come together as an industry and somehow or another get some cameras out there and follow an Oka or a Marcus Mealander or a Lucas Wallen through this week. You know what I mean? Like going into the elimination, maybe the night of the elimination, and then follow them through the week of how they bring these horses into the biggest races of the trainer and the horse's career. Simple as that, you know?
I think it's pretty interesting, though. It's fitting that you have a couple of Mealander trainees who are pegged as the main contenders, just like he did when he had that three-headed monster of Green Manalishi, was a Green Shoe and Chimpanzee. Were those the three? And who was it? It was a Luke Blake trainee who spoiled the party. Well, Motocon Legacy, I think, is probably a bigger contender going into this Hambletonian than maybe Forbidden Trade was. And he's also going up against a couple of... There's 4 Mealander trainees in that race. So it could be similar, could be history repeating itself here.
Forbidden Trade really took very little press going into his elimination. Very little. Everybody was talking, you said, that 3-horse juggernaut, especially Green Shoe. They more or less was handing the, the victory to Green Shoe at that point. So, always makes it such an interesting race, man. And that's why it's the Hambletonian.
A lot of top connections there and some really talented trotting colts. I mean, based on the eliminations, there could be 7 legitimate contenders in this race out of 10, which is going to be, I think it's going to make for an incredible race, and I'm curious to see how the post position draws are going to shake out tomorrow afternoon.
When you're talking to Yannick, tell him from me that I'm hoping he's starting a whole new streak. He had a streak of bad Hambletonians. Now he's got a streak going of good Hambletonians, and I'm expecting him to follow through this year.
He'd be doing it in upset fashion this year with Gap Chronos, that's for sure, because I don't think he's going to be expected to be a main player in that $1 million final, but something we're looking forward to this weekend. We're going to look back on this past weekend as well, on what happened here locally. I would say you're going to have to likely fill me in on some of these track plays because I didn't get a chance to see some of the action.
Yeah, I didn't really watch too many races Saturday night to tell you the truth,
I see, John. We extended it from the half.
Yeah,
cool.
Now it's from the half there, but I still think that we need to come a little bit further. What I want to know is I want to know where they're sitting when they come out of the first turn. That's where I want myself, at some point, hopefully we can get it to the 3/8.
Yeah,
but we go back a little bit in the last race, had a fifth. He made it at the half, made it up as far as 4th at the 3/4 pole, and was still able to get the job done. The 5th to the 4th, from the half to the 3/4 pole, it almost kind of reminds you of that mucky Mohawk flow that we see sometimes. It just doesn't go anywhere.
No, I eventually will probably be expanding it even a little bit further. We'll have more to kind of base it off of and see how the races kind of shape out just based on the chart lines. But there's a look at track plays as we always do. And of course, we need to get to business tonight, though. We have a lot to look forward to over the course of the weekend, of course, but I think this is a pretty wide open card. I think that there's no clear standouts in some of these races. It's why you and I decided to go price shopping in some of these events.
Dramatically.
Yep. So we're going to kick off the card here in race number 1, and 6-5 is the current. Oh, we're going to go to race number 2, I should say. I'm already jumping ahead. Race number 2, and I found this to be a pretty wide open affair, though, Randy. I think the second choice on the morning line, Monte Amore, a sibling to Monte Mickey, one that I'm really excited to see this filly race. She was scratch sick in her latest. I couldn't quite put her on top because of that. I did go to another rival. I'm curious to know which direction you went here tonight.
Well, I know that you didn't go the same way as me, and my top pick, we're not going to show the replay of that one. I'm kind of reaching a little bit, like we talked a little bit earlier tonight, me and John. We're kind of, going a little price shopping tonight, and one of them is going to be in this race. And where I'm going to go is I'm going to put the 3-horse up on top, Cleo Panther. I like the way that she's been racing. I've been waiting for this opportunity to take a chance with her, so tonight I'm going to take a chance with Cleo Panther. But the replay that we're going to show is the 7-horse Bikini Sealster coming from the Sean Stacy barn. Second start for Billy Davis with this one. I think that this one's going to take a lot of support in here tonight. So, there's no way that this one's going to be 30-1 that it was in its last start. First start for Bob took a little bit of interference, but still polished that first race off very, very nice. And in this one, too, I thought Billy did a really, really nice job with this one. Comes up with a nice 4th. Back half in 54 and change. Last quarter in 26 and 4. Not overly done. And this is a grassroots. So to me, this is a big kind of a drop down from grassroots level to into this level here. So Cleo Panther's going to be my top pick. I wanted to show you Bikini Sealster, this Bulldog Hanover daughter. I think she's going to take a lot of support in here. You like Monte Amore, which I have that one in on the bottom. The one that I didn't use, and I don't know if you did, but I didn't use it, and I think that I should have, is the Mayotte trainee from post position 2, Una Momenta.
My top pick there.
Are you serious?
My top pick.
You are the best.
No, only because nothing to rave about her career debut, but with young horses though, Randy, I don't want to give up on them just after one effort. I like that qualifying effort on July 7th. James was patient with her, and when he angled her out in that mile, I thought she was moving really well. So not a great career debut, but I think this is a better spot for her. And again, I'm not going to dismiss her just after one career try.
I like her. Now, I didn't use her, but here's kind of one of the reasons why I also think that, maybe she could be pretty live in here tonight. Now, my top pick, Cleo Panther, like I said, I've been watching her for a while, and she's just kind of progressing along, getting a little bit stronger each time. So going to take a chance. Phil Hood on picking her up. But the reason Phil's picking her up is because her regular driver, Tyler Borth, has elected to go to Una Momenta. Now, she's only had the 2 starts behind the gate, first being a qualifier. That was for James McDonald. Nice line, that first qualifier. And then she, grassroots, first start, Tyler goes with her. Doesn't do a whole lot with her, but obviously liked her last quarter in 26 and change, because he came out on the horse that he's been picking every week on Cleo Panther, and he elects to go to the Mayotte trainee in here. So I think that the Mayotte trainee could be very live. I'm going to stay with the 3 horse, but I think that is a very, very good pick of yours.
Again, I'm really scared about Monte Amore. I know Garnett's going with her on top. She was a big ticket purchase there in Lexington, and one that I think I like the qualifying efforts. And I think that, the 6 scratch kind of scares me just a little bit. I wish we had our start under her belt to kind of reference her. Outside draw to work with. I just don't know how aggressive they're going to be in this spot, but I guess we're going to have to take a wait-and-see approach here in race number 2. We're going to move on to race number 5, and this closes out the early pick 5. And we're going to look at a couple of horses who are, gold caliber horses, right? We've got LMC Wagon Wheel, Lil Sweet, Bright Green as well, who's competed in some golds too. So I went all in on the rail starter, LMC Wagon Wheel. I loved his effort last time out at Grand River. He just never really had a chance to get involved. So hard to make up ground at Grand River, especially being way back. We talk about being it tough to do it here, especially at Grand River. It's even tougher. I think he's sitting on a big effort, and I think the last time we saw him on the big track, we all thought he was going to get the job done, and he got picked off by Southwind Milk. But tonight, I think, even from the rail, I think he's going to get the job done in race number 5. What say you?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. We can move on if you like. That's going to be my top pick as well.
We want to show a replay as well from his most recent effort at Grand River, right? Yeah. I think good to highlight how he was moving on the end of it, because he really was moving in that most recent gold. So take us through this trip, Randy.
Yeah, I mean, a nice trip. Like you say, at Grand River, you don't want to be too far back. And, maybe he was just a smidgen too far back, because they're going to go a fast mile. He's got a lot of ground to make up. I just think that each week that they race him, he just gets stronger and stronger. And, by the end of the year, we could be looking at a horse here that's, maybe super final champion material, because boy, oh boy, he is getting good. So here he comes on the outside for Tyler. Tyler, getting along really, really good with him. Big ground gains on the end of it. And on the run out, you're going to really see a big gain there as well, too, because he is pretty well gone right on by those other 2 horses. So LMC Wagon Wheel, I agree with you. He's going to be the way I'm going to go as well.
Nobody moving better than him at the end of it, right? And of course, obviously July 8th, we were a little disappointed that he didn't convert, but we thought that he was going to get the job done. He seemed to kind of stand out there on class, but Southwood Milk, she followed up that victory with a good effort. A nice second place finish. So I think that LMC Wagon Wheel is sitting on a big effort here. And, I know that some people like to say, in between golds, they kind of want to shy away from some of these sophomores. It's all about building confidence too, and I think that if you're in a perfect spot to build confidence and get the job done, I think you want to take advantage of exactly that, and I think that's what Tyler Borth is going to do here with the rail start. I'm curious to see who else do you see maybe being a sleeper player in this spot.
Well, just before we do say that though, I just wanted to say when that second beat a neck to Southwind Milk, I had Southwind Milk on top that day.
Okay.
I kind of thought that this is the way that it was going to go, and the biggest reason is I've never seen her any better. Southwind Milk, and he could, and she barely beat him. And she's never been any better than this. Yep. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great reference point. And as far as a horse that could, maybe jump up with a big effort, what about Cover Band? Picking up Bergerac tonight, picking up a shoeing change tonight. Nothing against the way that Scott's done it. He's been winning with the horse, but there's nothing wrong with a different set of eyes on a horse too, a different set of hands, different style of racing. So Cover Band, 10-1 morning line, shoeing change, going from steel to aluminum, in behind. He's been a winner in his last 2 races, his second last win being here. I think that if he goes off at too much of an odds, he might be the one.
You have a Chicago Hall rated highly on your ticket as well. Now, did you single LMC Wagon Wheel on your pick 5 ticket, or did you use a few?
I singled them.
Oh, singled them. Okay, so you and I both thinking that he's one that you can be comfortable with. Yeah, I completely agree there. And there's a look at race number 5. We're going to move on to race number 6, and we've got some claiming handicap, 30 to 40,000. Nice group here, and of course we saw the effort that B. Stoney put forth last time out. Trouble trip from him last time out from an outside draw. He's got another outside draw to deal with tonight, so the trip scenario might not work with him tonight again. But I think that was a really, really strong effort. But I tell you what, there are some contenders towards the middle of the gate here, and there's one that you want to highlight in particular.
Yeah, B. Stoney, I agree with you, and he's getting Travis Henry back for the second time. He got along great with him the first time, but has to still deal with that 10-hole. And even when this guy was streaking on these where you couldn't beat him, he was winning. Seemed like sometimes the outside would kind of equalize things for him. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily get in the best spot. So I'm not even going to use him on my top 4. Tough to stay away from him, but I'm not doing it. I'm going to go with the 6 horse, and this is the replay that we're going to show you. This is seriously Hanover. I mean, I think that he's been getting close a few times. I mean, 11 starts last year, was a winner 5 times and a mark of 50-2. So he knows how to win races. 18 starts this year. He's already got 2 wins. Again, mark of 50-3. This is his first start Lasix. On this one, and Billy Davis going to be coming back for a return engagement. I like the way that he raced here, and a little bit sweaty. The only one that's showing a little bit sweaty, but first time Lasix too, so that can sometimes go kind of go with it. I like the way that he races. He didn't overdo it with him. Good job, Billy. And I think second start Lasix, he can come back with a big effort. Now, there are some flashy horses in here, but right now it doesn't seem like there's anybody that's really taken the ball, or the bull by the horns and is owning this class like we've seen in the past with the B. Stoney or those kinds of horses. So I think pretty well the whole race is susceptible, and second start Lasix, middle of the gate, is the way that I'm going to go.
A dirty little piglet. He's been racing really well. Second place finish to B. Stoney on July 14th. Stash it away. Another one who I think is a contender here, but I'm just going to hope the trip scenario works out for B. Stoney. He's going to be my top pick. Nobody was moving better at the end of that mile, but it might be tough sledding from post 10 again here tonight, but I'm hoping maybe I get a little bit of a price, or maybe a higher price than I expected off that trip. We're going to move on to race number 7. We've got some Millar Farms action. We've got leg 2 here for these 2-year-old trotting colts. We're not going to see Royal Captain in this leg again. He actually will be competing at the Red Mile in a Kentucky Sire Stakes event, so best of luck to Tyler Jones, who I believe is going to be making his Lexington debut.
He's going to enjoy
that. He's going to enjoy it, and he's got a contender to work with as well.
Does he ever?
Another son of Captain Corey in that race Endurance, who has really looked sharp. I think he's the fastest Captain Corey so far this year, so he's going to be a main contender. But I tell you what, Tyler Jones is a great contender there, and we're not going to see him here. And I think maybe, obviously it gives opportunity for some other trotters in this group, especially the Bob Young tandem here. Halton Hill, Captain Code. I figure you like either one of these 2 trotters. Which one did you go with on top?
I didn't.
Oh, you went price shopping here.
I did. Beautiful. I did, but I did use the 2 Bob Youngs. I'm thinking that those are the ones that I got to beat. So
I picked against them too, but I went a different way than you, I think.
Okay, Captain Code I put in for second, and Halton Hill I put in for third.
Okay.
And biggest reason why I separated those two is Halton Hill has the rail. I like the 2-hole just a little bit better. Which replay are we going to show first, Luke? Okay, so my top pick in here is going to be the 6 horse, classified. Going to go with this guy. This is again a Captain Corey. Had a third in his first start of the Millard Farm. So let's take a look at this guy, James McDonald. Hopefully he's in town. He makes it back from Grand River in time to be here. But I like the way that he's doing it with this guy. He's big, solid looking colt. Again, I like the body language from James. Absolutely not asking him to do anything. Just kind of like letting the horse find the track, find the bit. Now, partway down the lane, now the whip comes up and he gives him a little tap there. Let's see what this guy does. Does he just kind of cave it in? I say no. I say now he's going to chase Bobby, who's also looking pretty comfortable in here. But again, now James puts the sword away and does absolutely nothing with him. I think that this horse could come back with a big, big effort. That last quarter he trotted there was 28 flat. doesn't really look like it. It looks like he's more or less trotting a last quarter in 31 seconds. I don't think that the Bob Young horses have to improve. This guy does a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to be able to catch a price on the Bob Youngs. Now, here's the other one, John. Before quickly, I just wanted to say this replay is we're going to show Captain Code, but this one also shows the 9-horse, Time All Starstruck, who also raced quite well here. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, you were high on Time All Starstruck. He actually caught your eye in that effort, but you could see Royal Captain. I thought he was going to get the job done in this effort, but I thought Captain Code raced super. He was first over a long way. Biggest thing is he kept moving forward. He couldn't quite get past the wheel there of Royal Captain, but this was a trotter, Captain Code, who, you talk to Bob Young, you talk to Scott, and they tell you that he was a little bit of a late bloomer. He was behind schedule, so for him to put forth 2 good efforts in his first 2 career starts, I think you've got to be more than pleased. And, I think Halton Hill was probably further along coming into his first pari-mutuel start, but I think Captain Code is catching up quite nicely right now.
Yeah, and what you like I said, I put Captain Code in for second. So of the 2 Bob Youngs, I rank him a little higher than I do Halton Hill. But one of the things you kind of got to like about it as well is that they were able to get Louis Waugh back. So Scotty can only drive the one. He elects to stay with Halton Hill, and they're looking for a driver for Captain Code. And Louis is available, and look who won, his very first start with him, and that was Louis Waugh, and that was a nice effort. So Louis coming back to Captain Code.
I'm intrigued about the shoeing change on Classified. He's going barefoot, steel to barefoot, is it? Or aluminum to
behind.
In behind.
Yeah,
it's intriguing.
Steel to barefoot in behind.
I'm intrigued by that change.
Yeah, very intrigued as well, too. And I just think that Matt Bax's barn is just getting ready to kind of spring up and go with some big races in here. And, hopefully James is able to get him across at a price.
I went Green Arrow Hanover from the 10-hole. I'm hoping that he can work out a pretty good trip. This son of Green Shoe, I thought he put forth a really nice effort there on July 17th. Post is going to be a disadvantage, but one that I think stacks up with them with talent, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Another horse that seems to be starting to kind of come into his own. Nice effort last week.
Nice group there that we're going to see for leg 2 of the Millard Farms, and we're going to move on to race number 8. We're going to stick to the trot, and we've got the pop-up series final. And we've got a field of 9 here. Phoenix is 7-2 on the morning line. I could see him going off as the race favorite. However, given his second place effort, I thought that was a good runner-up effort. I think he's going to be the one to beat here. Did you go back to him in this spot?
No, I got him in for 4th, Phoenix. I'm actually I think that maybe Devil's Arch might go off as the favorite. I got him in for 2nd. I'm going to go with the 4-horse, What About Elmo, picking up James McDonald for what I would guess to be probably one of the first times in this horse's career. And we're getting a bridle change on him tonight. Paul Reed's going to take the side rolls off, going to go to an open bridle on What About Elmo. So let's take a replay. Let's take a look at the last race of What About Elmo. Tyler Jones down in Lexington tonight, going to end up with a real nice 3rd with this one. Tyler's been driving this guy pretty well religiously for the last couple of years. He's done a really, really good job with him. 175,000 put away last year, but 0 for 12 this year. Bridle change coming in and picking up James McDonald. It's not a bad thing to be picking up the Fry guy. So you can see Tyler out here with this guy, another horse, first over, but keeps coming forward, and now he's got the side rolls on here, so he doesn't really see what Tyler's doing. He's not going to pick up this horse eyesight. He might hear him coming on the outside of Jody's, but eyesight, as soon as he sees him, now he starts to move forward again. Well, we're taking the side rolls off, going straight open tonight on this guy, John, and he's going to be able to see everything. So hopefully he sees James McDonald in behind him, gets scared, and gets to the winner's circle first.
And Devil's Arch looking for the sweep here in this pop-up series. He's worked out clean trips by driver Jody Jamieson and co-owner Jody Jamieson in this spot. I think a trip like last week where he was able to angle off the cones late in the mile and just kind of trot by them, I think that's everything you want heading into a final, that we should see a little bit more movement, a little bit more, a more competitive affair, because this is a big purse for this group.
Yeah, and, I think the Devil's Arch myself, I think that he's the horse to beat in here. Now, another one that's kind of interesting, too, is the one that Desiree Jones brings in here, Tactical Strike. Got this one in for 3rd. Now, I don't really look at her as a win candidate. She might, because I really like her, and, she shows winning, a few starts down on here. But what I do, I think that she's going to be a part of your ticket at big odds, because boy, oh boy, if nothing much happens with her early in the race, does she ever have a move on the end of it? Like, she can sizzle 27 flat, like in the blink of an eye. So I think that Scotty, is going to be picking himself up a rather live drive middle of the gate.
I think she's got all the talent in the world to get the job done. She just seems to be trending the wrong way over the last couple of tries. And typically with me, I don't really like to back mares if they're kind of going one way. I like to just kind of see them pick up their confidence a little bit and put forth some sharper efforts. Undeniably, though, the talent is there to take down this group if she can put forth her best effort. Again, we just haven't seen it. I wanted to see more at the end of her mile last time out. I didn't see that same level of pop that we're accustomed to seeing.
100%, yeah.
We're going to move on to race number 9, and this is our preferred trot. A big scratch here. Gaines Hanover is going to be scratched out of this contest. Right now, it might look more or less like a two-horse affair between Fashion Frenzy and Osceola. Amigo Volo back into the mix here, shipping back in from Kentucky, where he was taking on where he was racing at Oak Grove in those opens. He's coming off a sharp effort, but Fashion Frenzy, Osceola. I think you and I are going to go head-to-head. And did you go back to Fashion Frenzy in this spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
You?
I went to Osceola.
Yeah, good pick.
Yeah,
okay.
just hoping I have better luck going by than the last time, because I thought Fashion Frenzy was far too sharp in that win.
Yeah, see, that's the problem that I got in here is I don't know how Dougie is going to be able to outmaneuver Louis in this situation. So let's take a look at Fashion Frenzy. Talk about a horse that is on his game right now. Gaines Hanover, I had him in for second. Osceola is now going to be my second pick in here. Amigo Volo I'm going to have him in for third, and then on the bottom, Sid the Kid. So let's take a look at Fashion Frenzy. I just think he's the it horse right now. I'm just going to try to ride this as much as possible. Osceola looked amazingly well in his last start. I know it was only the preferred 2, but he's, more than held his own at the very top class in the preferred. Where Osceola is going to come up in here with a really, really big effort. McNair, Dougie gets along fantastically well with Osceola, as good as anybody, I would say. Bobby McClure did an amazing job adjusting to this guy in his last start. And sometimes we see different drivers come on Osceola and they don't adjust to him right off the bat, But Bob did, and he gave him such an easy trip. He had lots of go on the end of it, when he did shake loose. So I think he's coming into this race very, very brave. A lot of energy left over from that last race that they didn't have to use. And, picking up his old sweater, Dougie McNair. The whole thing is going to be his positioning, John. Who's going to get control? Who's going to have to follow? To me, I would not want to give up control in this race. I would want control. Yep. Whoever, even if the one that I think is that I have to beat is on my back, that's where I want him. I want him on my back because I want to know where he is. I don't want him taking some big run at me. I'm hoping that, if they come out of there together, maybe at some point Louis is going to get around Dougie. Dougie's going to be in the 2-hole. Now you can see what this horse did. Osceola racing from down in amongst them last week. Huge movement. So Louis is going to have to be careful, but I do think that he's got a better chance of beating him with Osceola on his back than him chasing him.
Yeah,
what say you?
I agree with you, because Osceola worked out a perfect trip in his most recent try versus Fashion Frenzy. It wasn't enough. So I'm completely in agreement with you. I think control is going to be the matter. I think it's going to be important in this race. So a nice effort there by Osceola, a lifetime mark victory. I never thought he was going to get there. I thought Drawn Impression was gone, and he showed some nice wheels late to grab a new mark in that victory. But a tougher group here, and I'm curious to see Amigo Volo. I think he's the biggest wild card in this race. We're going to move on to race number 10, and a scratch of the 4 lose game that puts us down to a field of 8. As Chad mentioned, majority of these contenders prepping for the Battle of Waterloo next Monday. No eliminations needed. Morning line 5-2 favorite is no wait list. I think he finds himself in a better spot, taking on, being in the Tompkins gears and taking on being in a couple of golds. And I think he was just simply outmatched in some of those efforts. But I tell you what, Speak Softly to me, that was as tough of a trip as you could ask for on July 21st. And his first start wasn't an easy trip either. And I think he's done no wrong so far in 2 tries in his young career.
Bingo. That's where we're going. Speak softly to me.
We'll see this adventure of a trip, because it was an adventure.
Okay, yeah. So he's going to take some interference here. I mean, Travis' horse, for whatever reason, backs up, kind of gets into him here. He makes an almost break. I think he might have even stepped on Travis's wheel. And, you got to remember, this is a 2-year-old that's only had 2 lifetime starts. Just the idea that he could step on that wheel, have what happened to him, and still just keep pacing through it. I mean, that's kind of amazing anyway. So Louis starts to torque him up here. And, I mean, every time he asks him to go forward, he ain't going backwards. He's going forward, and he really starts to put on the wheels down here on the bottom. Not a very big guy, but boy, oh boy, he knows how to be a racehorse. So Speak Softly to me, going to be my top pick in here. But you know, this is going to be a really, really tough race, John. I mean, for the 10th race, $165,000 carried over in that jackpot high five. You know, they're not making it any easier in here. Nope. Now we got to scratch down to a field of 8, but you know, the one horse, I think he's racing fantastic right now. DA Let's Dance. Brindle racing amazingly well. You know, he's probably going to be a lot of people's favorites. Then we go to the 3 horse that we just showed you. No Wait List. I got him in for a part of it. Dak Sealster, I got him in for second. Now, this one's kind of interesting to me. You know, going from Burke to McEnany. Now, I find that that's kind of an interesting change. I'm not taking anything away from Ronnie Burke, and I'm not building Scotty up to be that. But what I am saying is that Scotty has been a top trainer on this circuit for a very, very long time. He knows exactly how these horses have to be hung up. So I think that there might be just a little bit of a change, tinkering of the equipment for Dak Sealster, and you know, he should be a little bit better in here tonight. And I'm not even using the 9 horse, Twinbee Stanley, who's picking up James McDonald again, who is racing lights out right now. Yeah, it's a tough race.
As good as Twinbee Stanley was, I still think that a horse like Speak Softly to me, I mean, if he didn't get that adventure of a trip, I think that he gets the job done. So for me, I have to rate him higher. As for Dak Sealster, I mean, this is something that Brad Grant does like to do. Burke train horses. He sends them over to McEnany when they're racing in Ontario, and that's just a pretty good tandem that they are. And just something in terms of familiarity and something that he's done in the past. So I'm hoping that this son of Bulldog can take a little bit of a bigger step forward here in this race as he preps for the Battle of Waterloo as well. And that wraps up our opinions and replays and what is a pretty... I like this card, you know, in terms of some value.
I agree.
So a pretty good, can't say I'm in love with any contenders, but I think there's the possibility of some prices here. We're going to look at some stats now. Top 4 circuit drivers of last week. James tied for wins despite missing an entire card there, being at the Meadowlands on Saturday night, as well as Louis Waz. So both guys are not in town Saturday night, but still sharing a top spot in terms of wins. But a good week overall for these 4.
Yeah, they, you know, all 4 of them had really, really good weeks, no doubt about that. Trainer-wise, I got a feeling there's going to be a little bit of a change on the trainer side. I
would have to say, as we look at the trainer stats, we could see Greg McNair at top of the standings there in wins as well as earnings. Great week for these 4, but I tell you what, Dr. Ian Moore, I don't think his Prince Hal stat counted on this wins or the earnings. It did not, but nice week for him as well. I mean, that's it's fitting that he got the job done up the passing lane in that Adios final, and he really deserved that signature win, did Prince Hal.
He did, absolutely he did, you know, and I mean, what I kind of find is Moore's quietly going about a really good year. You know, we've seen it a couple of years ago when he had Tattoo Artist and that. I mean, there was no quietness about that. He had all the best horses. But this year, I think he's quietly going about a really, really, you know, good year. You know, and then last weekend, like you said, I mean, that's just cherry on the sundae so far.
Yeah, too bad he wasn't able to be there in person because there was some storms looming in the area, so he had to watch from here. But I'm sure that he was elated.
One of the legs of the Triple Crown.
Was the Adios, was it, eh?
Yep. Yeah, I think it was the Messenger, the Cane, and the Adios.
Yeah, Burke had 5 of them in the race. His Charges raced pretty well, too. I think he was 2nd and 4th in that final, and Twisted Destiny was 3rd. But Prince Hal gets that signature win. They're winning the Adios, and it's going to be fun following the Glamour Boys division the rest of the year. We'll look at some multi-leg ticket ideas. We'll look at the early pick 5 here. Randy, you're up first with your ticket, and you've got a pair of singles in race 3 and race 5.
Yeah, race 3, I'm going to single Booming Economy. Okay. Really hoping that this is, he's right down at the bottom class. I hope that they just race him the way they did 3 and just let everybody try to catch them.
I agree. That's his best style.
Seems to be, like bottom them out, go from there. And that's in race 3. So if I can get through there, in race number 5, I'm also going to single. And that's going to be LMC Wagon Wheel. Okay. I really like him in there tonight, but at no point do I really go, too deep. I think it's fairly logical. So $8 ticket for a buck.
Race 2, I think, is a tough leg, though, too. I don't think there's any slam dunks in there, and you're opting to use Cleopatra and Bikini Sealster. That's not going to be a tough leg.
No.
An easy leg, I should say. I've got the same idea with you in terms of the 2 singles, but I have bookend singles. We've got the same one in race 5, LMC Wagon Wheel. I'm going all in on, what is it? It's the 6th horse. I'm drawing a blank. Mystic. Really good effort by him last time out. I think finally he might be treading towards the horse that we know he's capable of being off that effort in what was a troubled trip there, but he showed some good go on the end of it. We have different ideas in race number 2. We both go too deep, but I'm going to use Uno Momenta and I'm going to use Monte Amore there, and I'm going to go Sbred in the middle legs. I think race 4 is really, really tough, Randy. I had a lot of trouble with that leg. I put Film at 11 on top. A very small likelihood of getting the job done, especially from post 10. I tell you what, though, she was moving really well late in the mile, especially after that miscue. So one that can blow up the ticket there, but I know it's a very, very small likelihood that she gets the job done from out there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think if she does get the job done, you're going to get a price in there. But again, that we were seeing a few races tonight where I think, you would be crazy not to go looking for value, because a lot of these ones are going to be favorites that are beatable favorites.
I would agree, and I think tomorrow's card is a pretty good one as well.
Agreed.
I liked getting that handicapping going underway as well. Okay, we've got a good card, but we've also got some live wire on tap. And who did you think would be a good discussion point to chat with here tonight?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if we're... who's the first one we're doing, producer Luke? Tyler Borth in race 3, and that is the big thing with me. This is a big question for me. How is he planning on racing Booming Economy? This is a big thing for, to get a single through here, because, I mean, I think that, there's only a couple of races in here where you really could single. The rest of them, like you said, there's a couple that you had to spread kind of wide. I went price shopping. You went price shopping in a few of them as well. But really, when you come through it, like I said, I singled him simply because he's at the bottom end of it. And the last time that they aired him out, Travis Cullen drove him, he was a winner in 49. And if he can do it again, I don't see anybody in this race traveling in 49. So I'm really hoping when we live wire Tyler, he's going to say this is a road show.
And Louis, I believe you like to chat with as well, or that we might be chatting with as well. Is that not in the, okay, perfect. So
hopefully before the night's out, we do get a chance to talk to Louis, because it would be really interesting to hear his thoughts on some of those handball horses.
Absolutely there. Okay, so there's a look at some of the potential live wires, and we touched on just about everything, and now it's time to cap off this pre-show with plays of the night, and you're up, Mr. Hall of Famer.
There we go. So we're going to start off in race number 2, and that's going to be Worth a Look, and that's going to be Cleo Panther, looking for a big price on that girl. Then in race number 6, I'm going to go Seriously Hanover, second start Lasix for this guy, hoping that he can come up with a good effort in Beat the Favorite. It's going to be classified middle of the gate in the final of that Millard Farms, or that Millard Farms race. And in the all-in, it's going to be Fashion Frenzy. He's going to be later on in the card, but I really do think you can build a ticket around him.
I like it there. You're going to get prices on those charges as well. And my best bet's going to come in the opener, Mystic. I'm hoping that he can get the job done and build off what was a good effort in his most recent. My value, Cruz Hanover. I'm not willing to write this guy off. I like the effort with J.R. Plant last time out, a few starts back. I'm hoping he can work out a trip that's more to his liking. My double up is going to be Osceola. We might have to make a coffee wager there as we go head to head. And my maiden breaker, no wait list all the way in the finale. Good draw to work with, a good spot, I think, and I think he's going to be sitting up close. He's just got to find enough to hang on the rest of the way. Competitive race card on this Monday, and some other plays of the night ideas as well. LMC Wagon Wheel spot play for Garnet Barnsdale. We're all in agreement with that. Ghislaine Piquet also Speak Softly to Me, and I agree, his turn, he's going to have every opportunity. And Kevin Plaucha going with Dax Seelster. He's thinking that he can build off what was, maybe a lackluster effort last time out, but he does have a win to his name, getting the job done over at the Meadowlands. So there's some thoughts there from some of our resident handicappers. Randy and I are going to be here all night taking you through this Monday 10-pack. Good luck.